Well, good evening, Arkansas. Once again, we have a brand new tornado warning. This goes for our folks in Lincoln County, Jefferson County, Arkansas County, and then parts of DeShay County here in eastern Arkansas. This is a brand new tornado warning again, and again, this is right along our warm front. Once again, this goes for Star City. This is right over the town of Star City right now. This also is going to affect towns of Dumas, Gillette, Gould. If you live in these areas, you need to be in your tornado safe place. Lowest level of your house, but as many walls between you and the outside as possible.
Yeah, so tornado warning is going to go for northeastern Cleveland, northwestern DeShay, southeastern Jefferson, Lincoln, and south central Arkansas County until 9 p.m. this evening here. So severe thunderstorm keep producing a tornado, and along with the tornado threat is going to be a potential of golf ball sized hail. Was located near Feeneyville or near Star City, moving east at about 50 miles per hour. So the potential of a tornado and golf ball sized hail is possible with this storm here. So as Derek mentioned, Dumas, Star City, Gold, Gillette, all those areas, Kneebone, Cane Creek State Park, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home as quickly as you can here. While you're at it, if your shelter is outdoors, you may want to grab you a helmet or something to protect your head from the potential of the golf ball sized hail as well, to prevent head trauma and to prevent injury here, guys. So we're going to go ahead and put a track on that. Go ahead. What were you getting ready
Let's
to say?
go on and zoom in, Cameron.
Yeah, it's right over Star City.
All the town of Star City. Let's get a few streets on that as well. Again, this is going to be tracking right. This is right over the town of Star City. You need to be in your safe place right now. If you live in Dumas and Gould, this is moving east at 50 miles an hour. So you need to be in your tornado safe place, lowest level of your house, but as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, that being said, there's nothing being confirmed. However, it's dark. It is nighttime. Do not try to get out and spot this. This is a very wooded area. The biggest thing is don't try to get out. Don't wait till you hear it coming. Now is the time to take those tornado precautions. Again, if you have a helmet for your head, like we've mentioned time and time again, head injuries are the first thing we see when it comes to tornado damage. Again, let's... I'm
getting a track on it right now. So it's basically going to be right there, just to the east of Star City at this point. We're going to put a track. So if you're familiar with the rotation indicator, basically where your green and your red combine as one, that's where they're going to have that potential for tornado here. So we're going to put a track right where that area of rotation is going to be, right where the potential for tornado will be. And we're going to calculate this moving east at about 50. I'm going to put it about 50 miles per hour here. So this is going to go for the following. Give me 1 second. We'll get this up and going. And it's going to be right here. Okay, so there's going to be the towns right here. So we've got Gold. It's going to be basically about 10 minutes. We're going to put 10 to 15 minutes for your area. Also towards Watson, we're going to talk about 908. And also Rosedale about 924. Now, we're going to zoom this out. And you can see this track doesn't include downtown Dumas right now, but if you are in downtown Dumas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And this is the reason why, because these tornado tracks, they deviate a lot. They can go northeast, they can go east, they can go southeast. That's the case with these types of setups here. So if you're in Dumas, you know you're not in the track. However, if this thing even deviates just to the southeast a little bit more, it will go over downtown Dumas. So if you know anyone in Gold and Dumas, or even in Grady, and also in Gillette, and also in Watson, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And also, this is also going to include areas that are along Highway 65 between Pine Bluff and the Winchester area here. That's Grady, that's Gould, that's Dumas. If you're on 65 right now, you could be traveling, or you know someone that lives along that highway, make sure they are taking their tornado precautions immediately here. Derek, looking at our area of rotation, this thing is easily getting stronger and stronger with each and every scan here.
And one thing with this storm is that there is nothing to impede it to its south, and southeast. And that's a concern as this moves into the Mississippi Delta, is that, our folks in Dumas, especially Gould, along Highway 65, as well as the intersection of 165, this is a very strong storm, and it is moving into a very favorable environment for tornadoes as it continues to push off towards the east. When we look at severe weather on nights like this, we look for those right-moving storms because those will basically they will take advantage of a less than conditional in the environment around it, and basically can produce a tornado with little or no warning. This one we've been watching for quite some time. It has moved actually out of the D-Queen, Arkadelphia area.
Yep.
It was moving northeast, and then it turned due east, and finally got into the better and more unstable area where actually we've been untouched, Cameron, all day long.
Down there in southeast Arkansas.
And each path of scan continues to get stronger and stronger. Let's go look at our gate to gate shoot.
It's gonna be right there, and you can see basically what I've done is I've put basically what you were looking at just a second ago with our rotation indicator. Basically, I put an indicator on there, and we're taking a look what we call the gate to gate shear, kind of telling you like where the area of rotation is, where the potential of a tornado would be, and it would be just to the east of Star City, southwest of Gould, west of Dumas, south of Grady, northwest of Winchester, and just to the west of Highway 65 at this point, and it's moving east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So if you know anyone in Dumas or even in Watson or any interest along the Mississippi River, by the way, because this will eventually impact those areas along the Mississippi River, near the Gunson area, the Rosedale area, right there along the Mississippi River, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And as I mentioned before, if your shelter is outdoors, grab you a helmet, grab you something to protect your head, because it's not only producing the potential of a tornado, but you will have to deal with the potential of golf ball size hail with this storm as well. So we're going to go back over to our radar real quickly here, and you can see basically I've left the rotation kind of right where it is, right there, where you see that little notch where the hail core Grady. You're getting a hailstorm right now in Grady, and in interest along Highway 65. Star City, you're seeing the heavy rainfall right now here, but if you're just to the west of Dumas at this point, that is where that area of rotation is at this point, and that's where you're going to have to watch for that tornado threat here as we get towards that time frame. Yeah, debris indicator as well.
Let's go to our debris indicator right now. Just trying to get another scan coming in first. Again, we do have hail as well mixing in with this, and with the radar scan. The radar beam is going through that hail.
Yeah. Let me confirm.
Again, not seeing any debris yet.
Let me confirm that. That's right there on the rotation.
Yep.
So be very interested to see what ends up happening. Like you said, that could be hail interfering with this. Basically, this is our debris indicator. Basically, what this means in layman's terms is what the radar is. What the radar is trying to depict, what type of precipitation is falling, or something that's not precipitation that is occurring. So the reds that you're seeing is just heavy rainfall and hail. Once you start getting into the yellows and the greens, and especially the blues, is where you have to start kind of thinking, especially if it matches up with the rotation, that it could be some debris being lofted up or something like that. That's not always the case. Like Derek said before, it could be the large hail being thrown in there and mixing some stuff up. But that is concerning that it does match up to your rotation here. So something that we're just going to have to keep an eye on moving forward here. But you can see right in there's your area of rotation just to the northwest of Dumas, east of Star City right now, southwest of Gould, and west of Highway 65 at this time here. And it's moving east at about 50 to 55. So Gould, Dumas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Star City, stay where you are at this time. Right now, like I said before, let this storm come over you before you get out of your shelters. Gould, Dumas, Watson, Rosedale, the Gunson area, that's across the Mississippi River, especially anybody that's on Highway 65, they need to be taking their tornado precautions now. And like I said before, if you have an outside shelter, be wary of that hail potential as well. Hey, Derek, are you getting any reports on your side at this point?
Yet.
This is a classic supercell structure with this.
Let's go on and zoom in and try to get a street view here of where this potential tornado is at this time.
Matter of fact,
let's just pull up a few streets here just to show everybody where this is. And this is going to be moving right along State Highway 414. This is going to be moving if you are familiar with areas.
114, over 114.
Yeah. State Highway 293.
Yeah.
Also, State Highway 114 runs between Star City and Gould. So if you know anybody who lives in between Star City and Gould, they need to be in their shelter right now. Lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible.
Yep.
Again, Dumas, this is tracking just to your north. However, continue to stay in that shelter right now. Sirens are going off in Dumas. Sirens are going off in Gould. Sirens are going off in Gillette and Star City as well. And that's what we like to see. Again, a tornado siren is not meant for indoor warning, and it's only meant for outdoor warnings for those outside.
Yep.
However, if you live in Gould, if you live in News, and you can hear the sound of my voice, you need to be getting to the lowest level of your house now. This is a very dangerous storm. This storm continues to uptick in intensity, and it could produce a tornado at any point in time. Let's go to our gate-to-gate shear camera.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I would not be shocked if this is actually on the ground now. Radar starting to depict
it's right
a
there.
little bit of a debris ball on this now.
Yeah, it's gonna be right there. I was getting ready to tell you that.
If you live, again, nothing has been reported on the ground. However, if you live in Gould, in between Gould and Grady, you need to be going on taking those tornado precautions right now. This is actually one of the strongest signatures I've seen all evening long so far this evening. So once again, if you live in Gould, again, this is just to your west, tracking just north of Highway 114.
Yep.
And I mean literally just north of Highway 114 by maybe a mile or two. So again, there's a lot of farmland out here. Again, this is moving into a more lessly populated area, but it's moving into an area where we have a lot of farmers, a lot of people who don't have a way to get warnings unless the storm is right on top of them. So if you know somebody in Gillette, you know somebody in Gould, you know somebody in Grady, tell them, hey, this storm has a high likelihood of producing a tornado at any point in time. They need to be taking shelter right now.
Yep.
If you live in a mobile home, try to find something to take shelter in. A bathtub, put mattresses, blankets, pillows on top of you, and protect your head as well. Again, if you live in Mitchellville, if you live in Gould, if you live in Dumas, take your tornado precautions right now. Lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. It is nighttime. Do not try to go out and spot this storm.
Yeah.
This is a very dangerous storm.
Very dangerous.
Leave that to the professionals, the chasers, the people who know what they are looking for in this type of event and type of environment. Keep this in mind. There's nothing to the south to impede this storm from continuing to grow. Our hope is that it crosses back over the warm front and becomes more elevated and less surface space. But as long as it stays rooted to this boundary, it is going to continue to have that potential to produce a tornado.
Yeah. So it's going to be right here. I put it right there on Highway 114. This is just to the southwest of Gould. Right at this moment, it's gonna get ready to cross over Highway 65 at this time.
Potential tornado near Grady, 10 miles northeast of Star City, moving east at 50 miles per hour.
Okay, so we've got 1 inch hail reported in the Stuttgart area. That was from an earlier storm. So before, we're not seeing any indication, that's on the ground, but still take it as it could potentially produce a tornado any given moment at this time. And also, one more thing is radar coverage is going to continue to get worse over here the further east it goes, so keep that in mind. But if you know anybody that is on Highway 65 right now between Gould, the Mitchellville area, and the Dumas area, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. As Derek mentioned before, sirens are going off in downtown Dumas. I want to reassure you, but I want to kind of tell you this as well. This is going to go north and west of downtown Dumas. However, you need to stay in the shelters. And the reason why is because of the fact that if this thing decides to take that southeast jog, if it deviates to the southeast, even a little bit, it will go straight to downtown Dumas. So, Dumas, let this storm pass over you. Don't get out of your shelters just yet. Stay where you are. If you're in Gould or you know anyone in Gould, they need to be taking their tornado precautions now. You need to get to your safe place immediately. This thing is about to be on top of you. Take those precautions now. I cannot stress that enough at this point. And downstream from there, the Watson area, the Gunson area, the Rosedale area, this is areas that are outside Watson areas in Arkansas. Rosedale and Gunson is outside of the Arkansas areas in Mississippi. But if you know anyone that's along the Mississippi River, they need to be taking their tornado precautions as well, because this is going to continue to move towards those areas here. So repeat, tornado warning is in place across this area here. It's going to go until 9 o'clock. It's going to go from northwestern Deshay, southeastern Jefferson, central Lincoln, and southern and south central Arkansas County until 9 o'clock this evening. The potential for tornado, along with the potential of golf ball size hail with this storm as well here. Derek, what are you seeing on your side over there?
All right, so just continuing to track. So again,
I'm putting
the
track
National Weather Center capable of producing a tornado. So nothing has been confirmed yet.
Which is
good.
That's
a very good thing.
Great news.
And again, also, one thing about it is that we have radar coverage that the radar may not pick up a debris signature as well as it would closer towards Pine Bluff or Little Rock, Hot Springs, etc. So again, as you go into southeast Arkansas, radar coverage gets less and less and less, because you are going to be in between Little Rock, Jackson, and Memphis. So that being said, if you live in Gould, if you live in Dumas, this is going to track just in between Gould and Dumas now, as it continues to push off towards the east here, about 50 miles per hour. So if you live or know anybody along Highway 65 or 165, along the dam area, as well along the Arkansas and White rivers as well, you need to call them, let them know, hey, there is a potential tornado headed your way. Be sure to take shelter immediately. And Cameron's about to pull up streets again here.
Yep, that's what I'm doing right now.
Just to give everybody an idea.
It's going to go right over Highway 83. It's going to go right over Highway 83. And then we've got also that's going to be County Road 17 over here, Nicholas Road over here. Obviously, still just to the west of Highway 65. And then it's going to be County Road 47. That's just south of Gould at this point. Gould, you need to be in shelter immediately. I mean, right now. And also, when you see these darker purples and the blacks, and even in some cases some blues, this is indicative of very large hail, very heavy rainfall, gusty winds. It's going to sound crazy on the north side of this storm, I promise you. But at this current time, this particular area grading towards Gillette, you are on the north side of this storm. So if you're wanting to avoid the tornadic part of the storm, this is the area you want to be in. However, you're still going to deal with the potential of golf ball size hail, heavy rainfall, cloud of ground lightning, and wind gusts upwards to 60 to 70 miles per hour. But if you're in Gould, or you're in Dumas or in Mitchellville, or area along between Dumas and Gould on Highway 65, that is where that area of rotation is going to be. As a matter of fact, I'll draw it out for you guys. It's going to be right in here. Okay, this is where your area of rotation is going to be. This is the tornadic part of the storm, which you don't want to be on. So if you know anyone that is in this area, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately here. So this is going to go. Give me 1 second to get this back up. It's going to go for, I believe that's Highway 65 over here. Give me 1 second. I think I had a slight issue. There we go. All right, so we're good. We're good now. All right, so it's going to go for Highway 83 over here. We've got Highway 65, and then downstream from there, we're going to talk about, give me 1 second, that's going to be Bottoms Road over here. There's 165 over here as well. So it's going to go right over 65, and then 165, and it's going to continue to move on towards the east here. So Mitchellville, Dumas, stay where you are. I mean, this is a classic supercell structure with this structure here. So you're going to have to watch that closely here. But Dumas and Mitchellville, it's calm right now. It's quiet. You know, you're probably not even hearing anything in those areas, and that's concerning whenever you're dealing with a potential tornado here. So keep that in mind here. But anybody on 65 right now between Gould and Dumas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately here. Go ahead, Derek.
All right, so Cameron, latest scan now puts the area of rotation actually moving into or very near the town of Mitchellville.
Okay.
And you and I have chased many times in this part of the state, and we know how flat, how just the overall infrastructure down here is not as supportive of damage,
definitely,
and can be damaged easily. So again, if you live in this area, not only are you going to have to deal with a tornado threat, but we're also watching the flooding threat with this storm as well, as it continues to push off towards the east. Again, if you're not getting a tornado, winds in excess of 70 miles per hour are likely with this storm, as it continues to push off towards the east. But again, tornado threat is there with this storm. So if you live in Gould, if you live in Dumas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. Lowest level of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible.
Okay. Derek, we got a new report. So in Lincoln County, we have no power in Lincoln County now here. So that's what we got at this point. As I mentioned before, like we mentioned before, we have to make sure that these reports are accurate because this is life-saving information. We don't want to spread anything false on here. So make sure the reports that you're sending out are 100% ground truth here. But I will say that one is going to be true in terms of the power. There's no power in Lincoln County at this point. Also, Derek, we have a new mesoscale discussion out on this storm, actually from Storm Prediction Center. It says not only the potential of very large hail, a tornado, but potentially a strong tornado could be possible within the next 30 to 60 minutes as it moves east-southeast. So, folks, we're going to be on live as long as this thing continues to threaten the potential of producing a tornado here. So that's from the Storm Prediction Center. They're saying the potential that this could become a strong tornado over here within the next 30 to 60 minutes here. So I've already got it up.
I mean, on the velocity scan camera, every passing scan just gets a little bit more extreme. Again, this is further and further away from the radar, and we're seeing this much velocity with this storm. As a matter of fact, the iDrive camera in Pendleton is actually showing a wall cloud with this storm, and the latest scan. I'm gonna
if you do me a favor, go confirm that because I've got some dark blue starting to show up on our debris indicator. So this thing could easily be on the ground.
So I'm actually looking at the storm on the iDrive camera in Pendleton right now. This is looking due west into the storm. So looking into the storm right now, not seeing anything, but again, it's still about 5 to 10 miles away. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this as that storm continues to push in. But again, now nothing's been confirmed yet, but we're seeing very strong rotation coupled with our debris signature on the radar. Let's go look at that camera.
Yep, I read your mind. I already got the radar ready to go. So we're going to watch this closely here. So Dumas, you need to stay where you are. If you are in downtown Dumas right now, get to shelter immediately. That was words from the Storm Prediction Center. They're saying the potential for strong tornado is on the table. You need to stay where you're at. Bingo. We have a new tornado warning that has just been issued, which does include downtown Dumas and the Watson area here. So now we have a brand new tornado warning that has just been issued. Give me 1 second. We're going to get that information up for you guys here. So tornado warning has been issued until 9:30. We're going to give you guys the latest information. Give me 1 second. There it is. It was on the other screen. So tornado warning for Central DeShane County. That's going to be for Lincoln. That's going to go for Arkansas County as well. That's going to go until 9:30. Severe thunderstorm capable producing a tornado. If I get my mouse to work. There it is. All right, so tornado warning over here for DeShane, Lincoln, and Arkansas County until 9:30. Severe thunderstorm capable producing a tornado was located over Mills or near Dumas, moving east at 50 miles per hour. The potential of a tornado, and once again, the potential of hail upwards to 2 inches in diameter, which, by the way, will cause injuries in this area here. So that's going to be Dumas, that's going to be Gould, that's Watson, that's over towards Pendleton, that's also Morgan Point recreational area over here as well, and also Mitchellville. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Also, they are warning everybody, torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. Do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways, guys. This is at night. It's about to be 9 o'clock. You're not going to see this tornado coming at you. You need to take your tornado precautions immediately at this point. Yep. So the northern end of this storm is producing a
there's
severe thunderstorm warning, considerable damage. I just saw that.
Up to 2 inch hail on the northern end of the storm. On the southern end of the storm, we have a potential tornado with this storm as well. So we have two separate instances here going on of severe weather, both in Arkansas and DeShane County. Just in the very eastern part of the state, southeastern Arkansas, again, right over the town of Dumas right now is a potential tornado. Again, lowest level of your house, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you live in Watson, if you live in Rosedale, if you live in Rower, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. Lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Let's pull up our street view once again.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a track on this first. 1 second here. So let's move it to the east. I'm putting it at about 50 miles per hour here. So that's going to be going from Watson. That is Woesdale. That's Gunson. That's Shelby. Anything after 9:30 is going to be across the Mississippi River. However, that is our sister state over there. We've got people that live along the Mississippi River or in western Mississippi. Give them a heads up. Tell them, hey, this is a tornadic storm that could potentially produce a strong tornado moving towards those areas here. So take your tornado precautions immediately here, Derek. I'm going to get back to your street view. I just wanted to make that clear because we have a lot of people that live along the Mississippi River at this point. So right now, this is where the area of rotation is going to be. It's going to be right there on Oakwood Road. Right there, I would say roughly, I had a County Road 413. At this time, it has crossed over Highway 65. It's going to eventually cross over Highway 165, and it's going to move to the east here, okay? So we've got Highway 165 in the path this. We also have Highway 1 over here as well. Many times as we've chased it, we've been on Highway 1. We know how Highway 1, that area is over there. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Also, as I mentioned before, on the north side of this, you're kind of dealing with two modes of severe weather here. The potential for tornado, and in this case, I dare say a strong tornado potential. And on the north side of this system, you're going to be dealing with the potential of golf ball size hail, which will lead to injuries if you're outside and you don't have anything to protect yourself with. So you have to watch out for that. Also the potential of flooding as well, and also the potential wind gusts upwards to 65 to 70 miles per hour here. So very active situation going on down here in southeastern Arkansas.
So let's look at the hook of this storm.
Yeah, it's
so
going to be right in here.
Looking at the hook of the storm, seeing very high reflectivity in kind of a ball just to the north or just around Dumas. So, this is very concerning to me because this is what we typically look for when we see what we call a debris ball.
Yeah, he's got the flying eagle shape.
This is when the storm has moved through, has picked up the debris, lofted it in the atmosphere, and is taking it with it as it continues to move across the track of the storm.
Yep.
And again, the environment is conducive for a strong tornado over this area. And looking at everything that we see, you need to be in a safe place right now because I'm.
Oh yeah.
There's
your
not
get
one on the ground. It is very close to being there very 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 shortly. Again, radar is depicting winds in excess of 100 miles an hour surrounding this area of rotation. This is moving to the northern part of Dumas right now. So if you live east of Dumas, if you live along Highway 165, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. For our folks in Gillette, the warning has been dropped south of you now, so you are good to go.
That's gonna be a yellow indicator, by the way.
Our folks in Star City, the warning is past you now. You can now come out of those shelters.
Yep.
But if you live in Dumas, if you live in Gould, still stay in shelter a little bit longer. If you live in Watson, you need to be in your safe place right now. Lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The good news is, latest scan has kind of gushed it out a little bit.
Yeah, that's some good news, yeah.
I take that with a grain of salt because we are getting further away from our radar site.
Yeah. I will say this, though, because this is Little Rock's radar that's going to be right here. Let me see if I can... do you think Jackson will do us any justice over here? I think you could probably use Memphis over here as well. It's between, and this is what we were talking about just a second ago, this is between three radar sites at this time. You've got one, and it's very indicative where the radar site is, by the way, with the radar dome on our radar. So you've got one in Little Rock, you've got one in Memphis, and you've got one in Jackson. Well, what's going on is this particular storm is probably taking the worst track possible because it's going through Little Rock's, it's going through Jackson's, and it's going through Memphis's, basically the failed zone of where those radars are at this time here. So it's literally taking that worst track. So you need to continue to monitor the storm closely. As I mentioned before, if you know anybody that lives along the Mississippi River or just to the east of the Mississippi River, you're not even under a tornado warning at this time. Tell them to seek shelter immediately. This is a tornadic storm. It does have the capability of producing a tornado, and given the environment, it could produce a strong one down the road. So keep that in mind. We're going to watch that near the Dumas area, and then along Mississippi River, and then in Cleveland and the Clarksdale area. Mm-hmm. But if you know anybody in southeastern Arkansas or in western Mississippi or along Mississippi River, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately at this time here. Derek, are we seeing any reports or anything? That is awesome, yet. But still take your tornado precautions, guys. Just be
but I am starting to see more and more reports as well of a potential tornado that crossed Highway 65 here just a little bit ago. So as a matter of fact, so right now within the town of Dumas, I'm on iDrive is now reporting slow to stopped traffic along Highway 65 between Mitchellville and Dumas.
Okay.
And that would be about where our potential area
rotation went through.
Of a tornado went through within the last 15 or 20 minutes. So if you live along Highway 165 heading into Watson, you need to be in that tornado safe place right now. Lowest level of your house. Put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Again, this is moving into a rural area of DeShay County now. So again, this is moving out of Lincoln County into DeShay County. This is a very rural area of southeast Arkansas. A lot of farmland here. Again, if you now live along Highway 1 from Pea Ridge, Watson, east of Dumas, northeast of Dumas, you need to be taking that tornado precaution right now. Lowest level of your house. You should have already been in shelter because we did give you plenty of advance notice of this storm. So once again, if you live in Star City, you are now in the clear. Dumas, this went over or just near you a little bit ago. If you live in DeShay County, you need to be in a safe place right now.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see, because we've got our radar looping at this point, it's just across right over Highway 165. This is staying on the very southern fringes of Arkansas County. It's going through northern DeShay County at this time here, and it's going to continue to move off towards the east, towards the Mississippi River. So if you know anyone in this area, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to the unit outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately. And like I mentioned before, if you have one of those outdoor shelters, I'm going to stress this right now because it's not only just a tornado threat you got to worry about, it's the hail threat. The hail threat, we're talking upwards of 2-inch in diameter hail, and if you don't have anything to protect yourself, it will cause injuries. So keep that in mind. If you have your shelter outside, you got to get there immediately. Bring something like a helmet or something to protect your head from potential trauma here. But the biggest thing is you're going to go to the west and northwest of Watson. Watson, you need to be in shelter regardless. Wherever this track goes here, but it's been kind of, you can see it's deviating. This is what we mean. Yep. Look at it. At one point it was going southeast, now it's going east, and now it's looking like it's trying to pull that northeasterly track at this point. This is what we talk about all the time with these tornadoes. They deviate in their paths. They don't go the same direction. They change paths over and over and over again. So anybody in this polygon, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. As I mentioned before, Highway 1, that is just on the other side of the Mississippi River. And I know we got a lot of people that either live along Highway 1 over there on the other side of the Mississippi River. Take your tornado precautions right now. This is the next outside of Watson. That's going to be the next big populated area that is going to go along Highway 1. But as Derek mentioned before, you have a lot of farmland out here. You got a lot of people that are farmers, very rural area. So tell them to take their tornado precautions immediately. But if you know anyone on Highway 1 on the other side of the Mississippi River and just north and west of Watson, then you need to be taking their tornado precautions at this current time here. Derek, what are you seeing on your side?
The biggest thing is that, right now our strongest area of rotation, as Cameron mentioned, continues to be just to the west of Watson, and this is going to track over or just near the town of Watson. As a matter of fact, this same area a couple years ago where I was chasing along Highway 1, and there was a tornado that actually went through a field just to my north when I was coming down this highway. I know did this area well. A lot of flatland, a lot of farmland.
Yep.
Again, you don't want to try to get out and spot this. You need to be inside taking shelter. Do not. One, it's dark. Two, a lot of heavy rain, high winds, and hail with this storm as well. So you definitely do not want to be trying to go out and spot this storm. But again, let's go back to our street view again, just to give everybody an idea on where this potential tornado is. Again, nothing has been reported. I fully expect that. It's dark outside.
It's right there on Highway 1. It's right there on 1.
It's moving right along Highway 1. So if you live or know anybody along Highway 1, tell them to continue to take those tornado precautions.
Yeah.
You need to be in the lowest level of your house, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And in fact, this on the very southern fringes of the storm, again, nothing to impede it as it continues to push off towards the east-southeast here at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. This is going to cross over the Arkansas River here in very short.
There's a levee.
Mississippi River, excuse me.
Mississippi
in
River,
very short order.
Yeah.
And again, this will move into Mississippi here very, very, very soon.
Yeah, and like I said before, I know a lot of people the street level views and stuff like that. This is like I said before, this is a very rural area up here in northern DeShay County. So you have your levees up here. That's Highway 1, and as mentioned before, this is going to go right over County Road 226 over here. And then also, as I said before, there's a lot of levees through here as well. And the biggest road outside of Highway 1 at this point in Arkansas is going to be Highway 1 over here in Mississippi. So anybody that lives along the Mississippi River, this is us giving you like the downstream cities here. So that's going to be Rosedale, that's Gunston, that's Shelby, that's Winston, that's over Mount Bayou. Drew area, a lot of people tune in to Arkansas Weather Watchers for their information to get for western Mississippi. So if you know anybody over here, tell them to take their tornado precautions. As mentioned before, not taking anything away from DeShay County or northern DeShay County at this time, but we do have a lot of followers that do live on the other side of the Mississippi River as well, and we want to give them proper heads up just as much as DeShay County here. So, Watson, you should have already been in your shelters by now. We warned you guys before this even came into Dumas. So, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. If you're in Watson, if you haven't done it already, that's getting to the lowest area of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. Now, I do see some good news with this, and I use that term very loosely because of where it's at with the radar. It's right there with Little Rock, Memphis, and Jackson. It's in a radar lost zone right now, so you're not going to be able to get a good handle on what this is looking like. I could potentially switch this over to Jackson if you have a better view over there of Jackson.
So
Little Rock's going to be the best one.
LZK continues the warning. Right now, it still remains to be radar indicated. That being said, I'm following a couple different tracers that are currently approaching the storm and trying to get an idea here on what they're seeing on their end as well.
Okay.
Our good friends Zach and Frankie, they are approaching this storm now, but again, it's moving into a very rural area. Our road network gets worse and worse, so again, they're not going to be able to see it. They are approaching it from the west. That being said, the storm is about to cross the Mississippi River here soon. However, if you still live in the town of Watson, you need to be in a safe place right now. This is moving towards just to the north of Rower.
Yep.
Again, if you live in Rower, continue to be in that safe place. But currently moving about 3 to 4 miles to your north right now.
Definitely.
However, again, if you live in Gillette, you are good to go. Gould and Dumas, you can come out of those shelters now.
Yep.
Going to be curious to see if we start seeing damage reports coming out of Star City.
Yeah, definitely.
Shortly.
Definitely, I agree. As a matter of fact, we could probably take our radar all the way back if it's not too late. To kind of see what happened with that particular setup here. So this was when we was looking at it all the way back over here towards Star City, the Grady area, and Dumas. And I will say probably right in here, that's going to be right as it was getting ready to cross between Gould and Dumas. That is probably where that tornado, if there were to have been one, crossed right over Highway 65. So you can see the progression of this storm. There's the area of rotation where it was just starting to get going, just southwest of Gould. There it is right there. And you take this out, and you can see how it's kind of recycled over the last couple of scans here as it moved towards the Dumas area and towards Watson. So this is where it's at right now. Like I mentioned before, it's in a radar lost zone, so don't take this rotation and run with it. It still could easily be a strong area of rotation near the Watson area, but just getting a visual, because there could have been a tornado right there that Gould, that Dumas area, and it'd be very interesting to see what's happening.
Further confirmation of what was likely a tornado across Lincoln County, Cleveland counties, into the Shea counties, and parts of southern Arkansas County. We're now approaching 4,700 people without power in the state, of which over 3,000 of those are coming from the track of this potential tornado.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, I would not be shocked to go back all the way to when this moved across Star City if we didn't see damage coming out of there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it may have already been on the ground before the warning went out. Again, this is just one of those nights where storms pulse up, pulse down, and can't produce a tornado with little or no warning. This is our most extensive warning of the evening so far, and unfortunately, this is a precursor of what we're likely going to be seeing tomorrow with our main event across much of central and southern Arkansas tomorrow.
Yeah, and I will say this: probably after this live stream, we can take a look at what we call the MRMS data. We can do that in real time and kind of see what happened with the rotation tracks here. But I do fully agree. I think there could have been a tornado just based off of the rotation that we all saw when it was crossing over Highway 65. Could have easily been a tornado here. So if you're in that Dumas area and you hear us and you still have power, if you see any damage or you hear any, get any video or anything like that, feel free to send us that information. That way we can get it over to the National Weather Service in Little Rock and try to pinpoint if there was a tornado or not. So if y'all can do that for us, that'd be fully appreciated here. So here's the latest information with that. At the current time, as mentioned before, tornado warning still remains in effect until 9:30 this evening. The storm is moving to the east at roughly 50 miles per hour. Also the potential of 1.5-inch hail. I think the hail threat has been the number one thing that we've been dealing with throughout this evening and into tonight. The hail threat was originally expected. It's been rather significant across the area here, especially if you were near the Stuttgart area. We've had reports, west of Hot Springs earlier on. The hail threat has definitely been there, and it was hatched for a reason. But now, as you're getting later into the night, you're starting to get that low-level jet as a response for our system coming out from the west, and that's what's going to result in that tornado threat here. Luckily for Arkansas, this is getting out of here before that low-level jet gets here. But for our folks in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, you may be dealing with this during the overnight hours here. And obviously, if something happens here during the overnight, we will keep you guys updated on that here. But
and
this is kind of a review. Is our tornado watch has been trimmed.
Good. Just to include the southeast corner of the state.
Yep.
And that's to be expected as our first wave begins to finally move out. Again, overnight, tonight, into the daytime hours tomorrow.
Yep.
It's going to be quiet. It's going to be, relatively quiet. The concerning trend is that we're seeing less and less chance of rain between this event and tomorrow's event. That's something we're going to have to watch for, because that's going to definitely depict where that warm front ends up, especially tomorrow afternoon ahead of our main event.
Yep.
But once again, we will worry about that once we get past this event this evening.
Yep.
So once again, tornado warning does continue here for about another 20 minutes for our folks in DeShay County.
I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not trying to interrupt you or anything. I wouldn't be shocked if that got extended over to the Mississippi River. I'm really worried for our followers over there on Highway 1, especially on the other side of Mississippi. I know that's kind of like outside of our name, Arkansas Weather Watchers, but we do have people that do listen to us and stuff like that live across Mississippi River. So that Highway 1 area, if you know anyone in the Rosedale, the Gunston area, tell them to take their tornado precautions immediately here. This is, like I said before, this is in Arkansas right now. It's in northern DeShay County. It is still capable of producing a tornado for our folks up there in northern DeShay County. If you know anyone that lives out there, I know it's a rural area, but if you know anyone that lives out there, tell them to take their tornado precautions now. Southern Arkansas County is getting a really good hailstorm out of this. Could be potentially talking about upwards to 2-inch in diameter hail on the north side of this potential tornado. On the south side of it, you deal with obviously the tornado potential, and it's going to go right for Rosedale. So if you know anyone in Rosedale along that Mississippi River or just to the east of the Mississippi River, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately here. And also, I want to address one more thing, and it's going to be the flooding threat. Not taking anything away from the tornado warning, but we are having flash flood warnings that are in effect. That's going to go until 11:20. That's Grant, Cleveland, Jefferson, Clark, and Dallas County. That's going to go until 11:20 this evening. So we do have flooding that we will have to deal with as we get towards later on as well, and especially tomorrow night into the early part of your Friday morning as our next significant wave begins to push through the area here. But I'd say anybody that's near that Rosedale area along Mississippi River or just to the east of Mississippi River along Highway 1, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. And I would dare say anybody that lives on Highway 61 over there in Mississippi, that's Shelby, that's Cleveland, that's Shaw, tell them to take their tornado precautions as well, just to be on the safe side. Say, hey, these folks, they're out of state, but they told me to tell you to take your tornado precautions at this current time here. Derek, are you seeing any reports on your side at this current time? No, there's an awesome time lapse.
The biggest thing is that I'm seeing is that, with the last couple of scans, the storm does seem to be losing that big umph of rotation. And it's a good thing. It's what we want to see. Flip side of that coin is we are also in the radar hole here in southeast Arkansas. And this just goes back to our message of we really need a radar somewhere in southeast Arkansas or western Mississippi. I know we're slowly getting those now.
Yeah, there's one that's going to be built in southwestern Arkansas.
Yep.
That's going to be down the road, so that's really going to help out with that. But we're slowly getting there. But we definitely need a radar down here in southeastern Arkansas for these folks to kind of alleviate these types of situations here. Right now, for large hail, it's actually for a large hail just north of the Watson area here. Just have to keep an eye on it. As I mentioned before, on the north side of this, you will have to deal with that hail threat, and we can zoom in further, and you can see that hail threat being realized right in here. Let's go over to what we call our MEHS, which is your measured estimated hail size here. And we can take a look at that real fast here and kind of show you guys what we're looking at. So this is going to be the hail threat, obviously. There's a severe thunderstorm warning on the north side of it with considerable damage tag. You've seen that all night. Basically, considerable damage means the storm has the potential of producing upwards to 2-inch in diameter hail. And you can see where this area is in red, just north of Watson. That's about 1 to 2 inches of hail in diameter depicted by radar. So obviously, it's going to melt a little bit and stuff like that before it hits the ground. So that's probably a half an inch to an inch in diameter hail just north of Watson at this current time here. And you can definitely see what we're going to have to keep an eye on at this current point. So let me go back over to our rotation indicator at this time here. There it is right there. Yeah, it's still showing the area of rotation.
It's just to the northeast, east of Watson down. This continues to push off. This is going to cross the Mississippi River here in just a few moments. So if you live in like Gunnison, and the warning has just been dropped.
Yeah.
So the warning has just been canceled. Again, like we mentioned, this is far away from the radar site. So radar, this is a little bit elevated now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, let's at least get this over the Mississippi River, just to be on the safe side, because Jackson could have a completely different idea and put another warning out.
Yep.
So we're going to let this cross over the Mississippi River at this point. Now, it's at a severe thunderstorm warning. What we're going to do is kind of take a look at the statewide view at this current time, because a lot of people have been asking about tomorrow. Tomorrow's been the most well-advertised severe weather threat we've seen in quite some time here in Arkansas, but we didn't want anybody letting their guard down for today, so we really haven't talked too much about tomorrow. This is our one of our shortwaves that's moving through right now. Mm-hmm. This is moving through the state. This is going to be clear now. One thing, like Derek mentioned before, what is concerning both of us right now is you have little to no heavy rainfall on the north side of this boundary. Now, what does that mean for us here in Arkansas? That all sounds confusing, right? What does that mean? Basically, is there's literally nothing that's going to stop this from the warm front from surging north. So we're going to watch central and southern Arkansas very, very closely throughout the day tomorrow. Here, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave current radar up. I'm going to leave that up, and I'm going to go straight over to our outlook for tomorrow. Derek, if you could do me a favor over there, if you hear anything with this storm, let me know immediately here. But This is going to be for tomorrow, okay? Because I want to kind of address this while we have a chance. The moderate risk goes from the Queen to Texarkana to Camden to El Dorado to Magnolia. I got a lot of family down there in southern and southwestern Arkansas. Take that seriously. We're going to have the potential of seeing severe weather, significant severe weather tomorrow. And I would not be shocked per surface observations and everything once we get handled on this first thing tomorrow morning that this perhaps could get expanded a little bit further to the north and east. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. There's your enhanced risk from Mena to Little Rock to Memphis, all the way down to the Greenville area at this current point. Let's see if I can tilt the radar
so
at this time. What you got?
Report. So again, this is actually right before it went toward warning. We're now getting reports of trees and power lines down.
Okay.
Along Highway 79. Near Rising, actually, which was just a little west of Star City.
Yeah, that's
when it first started showing signs of rotation. Also getting reports carports blown over as well as the storm continues to push east. So we're starting to get those reports filtering in. What will likely be confirmed as a tornado as we get a little bit closer to this event, or as we get a little bit better idea. Once people are finally able to go out and look and see.
Yeah, definitely.
And again.
Okay, so there's a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's tornado possible.
Yep.
Now, and it's going to go until basically 9:30, so another 12 minutes from now, and then they're going to let that one go. I was going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt or anything. Like I said before, guys, he's still filtering in reports and stuff like that. So we're going to go back to what we were talking about for tomorrow. This is the outlook for tomorrow, and like I mentioned before, a lot of people are freaked out. This is something that has been talked about over the last couple of days. You've heard probably a million times from a different million people. This is going to be one of this massive outbreak tomorrow. I want to rest assure you guys right now. Yes, severe weather is on the table, perhaps significant severe weather, but it's never a 100% guarantee that you're going to see severe weather on your doorstep. So as long as you have a game plan, as long as you're prepared, I promise you, I guarantee you, you're going to be just fine. It doesn't 100% guarantee that you're going to get a tornado at your house at this particular time. I want to stress that right now. I get it. I understand the anxiety's through the roof because everybody sees this moderate risk and thinks, we're going to have this massive outbreak. And I understand the concern, and I understand the concern as well. And you should always have that when you have severe weather. But at the same time, always think in your back of your head, it's not going to be 100%. You may see severe weather, or you may not see severe weather. That's going to be the biggest thing going forward, especially for tomorrow. So there's the moderate risk across southwestern Arkansas, that big orange area from basically Dallas-Fort Worth all the way to Memphis. That's going to be your enhanced. And then your slight risk in northern Arkansas. And then in far northwestern Arkansas, you have the marginal, lowered threat. We tell you guys all the time what happens to those marginal and slight risk areas. Mm-hmm. They can produce severe weather. Keep that in mind up there in northern Arkansas for tomorrow.
And one thing I want to mention is that both in the moderate and enhanced risk, we do have that potential of strong, long-track tornadoes.
Matter of fact, I was getting to that.
So yes, the moderate risk area has the tracking tornadoes, but yes, also the enhanced risk. So basically anywhere from Dallas, almost to Houston, to Little Rock, to Memphis, And again, we're going to get an update at
midnight tonight.
Roughly at midnight this evening.
It's going to be left midnight, so they're still
I
going to
noticed there's a lot of wholesale changes with the overnight run.
Yeah.
But I do expect a lot, some changes tomorrow. I would not be surprised to see an extension of that moderate risk a little bit further north and a little bit further east. Would not be shocked to see the enhanced risk kind of nudge a little bit further north. Again, it's all going to be based on warm front placement. However, with the clearing out of our rainfall this evening, and overall not seeing anything, in terms of rainfall developing between now and midday to mid-afternoon tomorrow, that's going to leave plenty of daytime heating to help destabilize our atmosphere once again. Again, we still have a lot of moisture in place. Dew points are still in the 60s across much of the state, even where rainfall has fallen. However, temperatures come down, yes, but our dew points have also not dropped any. Instability is the only thing that has come down.
Yep.
And that's very typical with nighttime.
Look at there.
Very typical, though, with this type of event. But, like I said, we expect the rainfall to last most of the night. That's not the case now. Again, so you can see the very dry area in northwest Arkansas. That's going to be very interesting to see how that erodes tomorrow. If we can get that to nudge north, if this nudges north a little bit further, Basically, what is going to win out? Your cold air advection or your warm air advection?
Yep.
That's where we're at, and that's what we're going to be watching all night tonight and into the daytime hours tomorrow, ahead of the event on Thursday afternoon.
And I'm going to stress this right now to everybody. During the day tomorrow, like you mentioned before, it's going to be quiet. It is going to be very quiet. Do not come at us with the bus questions or the bus comments and stuff like that. It's not the case. I promise you, it's going to be quiet during much of the day tomorrow. This is going to be tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's probably going to be a nocturnal event as well, because I'm going to tell you what's going on with your system. So your system's back out here towards the west, and your warm front placement, wherever it is, and I'm a betting man right now, it's probably going to be somewhere along, just to the touch south of I-40, but if you don't get rid of this moisture anytime soon, Derek, it may end up further north than what we originally anticipated, but we'll keep an eye on that. But wherever that warm front placement ends up, what's going to end up happening is your system is going to kick out to the northeast. A lot of people are not paying attention to tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is going to be rough. It is going to be rough because the system is going to have to kick out, and it's going to bring all that moisture straight north. It's going to kick wherever that warm front is due north. It's going to surge it north. Yep. So keep that in mind. If you go back in history, we've seen cases like that before where you were north of the warm front. It was cool the entire time. Not much going on. Your system kicked to the northeast. Your warm front surged. And that's how you got your severe threat. So keep that in mind. Patience, patience, patience tomorrow. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to be a patience tester. It's going to be tomorrow evening, going into tomorrow night. We're going to deal with it probably first thing Friday morning as well. But we're asking you guys right now, it's going to be patience with this system. Because it's not going to happen it's not going to happen, first thing tomorrow morning or first thing tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a late producer. It's going to be one of those late afternoon, evening, overnight events. But I'm really concerned. I'll talk more about this first thing tomorrow morning when your first outlook comes out, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll talk more about that in the morning. But you're going to have to watch this progression of this system here, because once it continues to move out towards northeast, it's going to kick that warm front northward, and that's where you're going to have that tornado threat. And it could be potentially a significant tornado threat coming by this time tomorrow night. So you may see us once again doing this tomorrow night as well. So, Derek, I think this one has cleared the Mississippi River along Highway 1, Highway 61. Continue to monitor the progression of this storm. It is continuing to produce large hail. We will have to watch out for the potential for tornado as
and
well.
Of course, we still have a couple more storms coming out of southwest Arkansas.
Yep.
Those still have to move through the same environment over the next hour or so. Our threat is lessening. Our severe threat for this evening is waning. That was to be expected. We're going to have a capping emergency come in that will be here for much of the night.
Yep.
And into the daytime hours tomorrow. How strong that cap is will determine how much rainfall we see tomorrow. And that's going to, that's a concern of camera going forward as we start to evaluate tomorrow's threat.
Yep.
Again, that being said, we're going to continue to watch and monitor. If another warning is issued, we're going to be right back live. But again, the threat's waning, but it's not done yet. We still have a couple more hours to go. Tornado watch ends at 10. A local extension could be seen if warranted.
Yep.
That being said, our wave is moving out. If you live along and west of I-30, if you live along and north of I-40, you can rest easy. Your threat is over for tonight. Get some rest and get ready for a very active day tomorrow. But we'll be right here watching it. Right here on your source for all things Arkansas weather.